Good morning, good evening, knowledge seekers and executors. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about the extension of the design patterns. In my last video, I was talking about the service communication pattern and the data mesh pattern. Today I'm going to talk about the fault tolerance pattern. Basically, the fault tolerance by name itself, which is talking about whenever there is a fault or failure happened, how do these services will be tolerate, how do it communicate the responses to the customers. So that is what the fault tolerance. You will mitigate the failures, and especially the failures are network failures, and you have infrastructure failures, service failures. So all those things, like how do you mitigate and resilience based on the issues, and how do you overcome, how do you provide the response, and how do you not affecting the existing other services. If one particular service is failed, and it cannot impact the other services which are up and running, right? So all these issues will be resolved if you follow the fault tolerance patterns. So let's go. What are the types of the fault tolerance pattern? There are 5 or 6 patterns are there in the fault tolerance. The first one is called, like a famous one, circuit breaker, and then you have like bulkhead. So that is one of the pattern where it will be mitigate the failures and isolate the failures. That is what bulkhead. And retry and timeout, retry pattern and timeout pattern, and you have like the health check pattern. So these 5 are the patterns which will be used to overcome the issues which are happening, or like failures happening in the microservices. So how the circuit breaker will work? So basically, circuit breaker, it will, if the moment you create a circuit breaker in your microservices, what it will do, it will checking your service health check until one point. So it will check like the failures, like count until one particular point. So once the threshold is reached, the circuit is open. So predominantly from there onwards, it never take the request, and it will go to the fault, it will give you the fallback mechanism to protect the system's overall scalability. So what will happen, it will bombarding with the request, all the requests will come, and the user will be always getting the error response, and user will be feeling very bad about the responses, because he was not getting any response, and he was keep on pushing the request to the user, to the server. Predominantly that will create a lot of headache to process the responses if the system is open, right? So by the time, like you have more requests will be there. So with this circuit, like it will close that request, and it will go to the fallback mechanism and give you probably temporary responses, so that like the user won't send the responses. You should see, like sometimes like the site is down, so something like that. When you try for service, automatically you get a notice which is talking about the site is down, and come back after some time. So that is what fallback mechanism. That is what circuit breaker. Like there will be certain mechanisms, like half closed, full closed, and with that way we will complete this pattern. And the second one is called like bulkhead pattern, which is mainly isolate failures and prevent the other services. Basically, like you have a group of failures which are there, and it will isolate those things into one particular mechanism, fallback mechanism. Predominantly that will create the scalability of your services, as well as it will prevent the existing services. So whatever up and running, it won't impact it. So the moment it will fall back it, so the user will not send it, because the moment user is sending, predominantly we'll stop it. We are not handling that response. We are not throwing any response to that. There will be a fallback mechanism which will be providing the bulkhead. And then third one is timeout. So retry mechanism. Third one is retry, whereas like you do like 5 retries. After 5 retries, like you keep it like 30 seconds or like 1 minute, and again like it will start it the request. So that is what the retry mechanism, which will be helpful to not impact your service as well as the server, the upstream services. So that is what retry services. So retry request can increase the chances of successful execution when failures are intermittent. So that is what the retry mechanism. And fourth one is a timeout, and The last one is like a health check. I can talk about in my next video, or if I need two things.